And we're
All
on.
right. Hello, everybody. This is episode 926. Says nobody. Nobody
Uh,
ever.
so,
Episode
how's it
9.
going?
Tired? Good.
Tired? I hear ya.
Moving day, baby. Moving day was yesterday.
Moving day was
Um,
yesterday? Are you back at your parents or are you somewhere else?
I'm somewhere else. But
Oh, I see.
my most of my belongings are in my parents' house. So you can see
Mm,
even my voice is kind of tired. I don't
mhm.
know why, but my voice is kind of tired.
I can kind of tell you're
Um,
pretty tired. It doesn't seem like, you're in your happiest mood at the moment.
yeah, it is. taking a shot at me right this early on in the podcast, aren't you? Huh? Huh? You want to?
I was like,
Let's get
holy
our.
guac.
Let's get
I was like,
let's get this clause out.
I was like, holy guacamole. Calm the fuck down. But anyways, so moving date. When did you
I'm not even gonna go to there. Um,
'cause I saw it, yeah, I saw it on your Instagram account or Instagram story.
yeah, I left Maryland yesterday morning. Got back, not got down here. I think around the same time last night. Did a
Oh
lot of
wow.
the unloading and loading. Didn't hire anybody. I had a friend help me, so it was
Did you have like a truckload of stuff or is it
yeah, like
you just rent a van or
I rented a U-Haul,
oh okay.
and that U-Haul it was basically filled with all my stuff, and I didn't bring all my stuff. I had to throw away some of it up there.
Oh, I see. Well, so what did you ended up like? Obviously, what did you, if you don't mind me asking? So what did you end up throwing out in the garbage?
Just some furniture. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Just stuff that didn't make sense to bring down because like of different things like quality. It wasn't really worth bringing down. And it was
Well,
just taking the space.
like are you talking about like a couch, or did you bring out
Right.
the couch and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
you
it's
threw
just
it all out?
no, not all out, but some I
Okay.
did,
Oh,
and it's hard. I'm sore. I'm really sore right now,
yeah.
but and it feels
We gotta
weird,
do what you gotta do.
right? And it feels weird, and we kind of talked about this last week.
Uh-huh.
How I told you the story about with my supervisor, how like it felt. Oh, my last day at work, it felt
Yeah,
like
yeah.
bittersweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of make that emotion and multiply that like tenfold. That's how I feel.
As you're
You know,
driving, is it as you're is this happening as you're driving back, or is it what you're feeling right now? You know what I mean?
uh,
Like
yeah,
leaving.
it's a fluid emotion. It's not. I didn't feel it just at one point.
Mhm.
I started feeling it the night before we moved, which was at to no, Wednesday night. Yeah, that was Wednesday. I started feeling it. Yeah, because tonight's Friday, right? Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
Wednesday night, that's when I started feeling like, oh man, this is my last night. It's kind of weird. And then,
Seems like you didn't get enough sleep then, hey?
yeah, I mean, and I had enough. It's just, it's one of those things like what we talked about. It's like an end
You
of an
need to tell
era.
me more about it, right? If you can, like dig deeper into it.
Like, what do you want to know? That's basically what it is.
No, like the description of, like it sucks, it's bittersweet and all that, like are you thinking about I guess what I'm trying to ask is I know it's bittersweet, but what makes it what made it worse than it was when when you initially had that feeling? You know what I mean? Because now you feel like it's tenfold or something. It seems to me like the
Yeah,
intensity has increased.
it's tenfold because it actually already happened.
Oh,
It
okay.
wasn't, and we were talking, I was talking about that on my last day of work.
Mm,
That emotion was for the job. What I'm
mm,
feeling now, it's that, everything cultivated together. There's really nothing really, I mean, I can unpack it a little bit, but it's pretty much straightforward when it comes to like the reason. I'm not there anymore.
mm,
I had a pretty concrete plan on
mm-hmm,
what I wanted to do, and that,
mm-hmm,
obviously that felt short. So I had
mm.
to reroute my train tracks.
Okay.
And
Can
it's
you
just,
can you expand more on that one if like you
I don't what expand on what? Like, this is like, you're overthinking stuff. Like, take it at face value. There's no, like,
oh no, it's I guess the
okay.
reason why I'm asking all these things is because there's a lot of planning involved, right? You're probably what I don't know the right word for it. Maybe shock that you're shocked that you're back in Georgia. Where do we go from here, kind of thing, right? Um, because I remember when I moved back to Winnipeg, I guess it was different. Like I had a job interview waiting for me here when I left Toronto. So now I was just trying to relate my experience from yours, right? Because now you're back. So then now what? What's next? I'm not expecting you to answer that question right now, but you know, I'm sure you thought about it on the way back. It's not an easy question to answer. But other than that, what else
No,
happened this week?
it's not a, it's, I don't know the answer. I have a
Yeah.
plan. I have a form of a plan, of a figure of a plan, but
Mm-hmm.
that's it for now. As
Mm.
far as as far as like job and all that's concerned, I've also had a couple of job interviews, phone screenings,
Lineup.
but nothing, nothing concrete yet. I mean, to be honest, I just got here, so I mean,
Yeah.
the plan is not okay. You wanted something concrete. The plan is to not stay here longer
Okay.
than, I don't
Right.
know, a month.
Okay.
But realistically, I don't know if it's a month or two. Hopefully not three. But it is what it is. I can't control that.
Well, that's exactly it, right? When it comes to planning, sometimes you can only um, plan for a certain period of time. Like you can't plan too far away, right? Totally get it. Because that's how I am too. When it comes to planning, I only plan for like a short, like I guess a short period. Like I'm not talking about, I'm not planning, what I don't plan on things that would happen, 10 years or 5 years from now. I don't have a grandiose plan like that.
Well,
And things change.
yeah, not only that, it's more on a practical sense. Like, I can't plan for C when the A and the B isn't there yet. I have to find a job at a place before I can like plan around that. I can't just plan stuff around it without knowing where I'm gonna end up being or end up going. Does that make sense?
It
If
makes
I
sense. Like you're not going from point A to point C, right? You
Yeah,
gotta
it's not, it just doesn't make sense. Like, you have to start from the bottom of the pyramid before you work your way up, and I have to have that first and
ah.
foremost. So there's nothing nothing like, oh yeah, I can't look too far ahead. I have my dreams
Uh-huh,
and my plans, that stuff that we talked about. Aside
uh-huh,
from that, concrete reality in front of
uh-huh.
me, nothing so far. And
Okay.
I'm trying not to stress too much about it. You know, it's
Uh-huh,
hard to, I know we've talked about this on like the previous episodes about like how the landscape of the jobs
uh-huh,
are kind of like on a weird place right
uh-huh,
now.
uh-huh.
But I'm trying not to let that get to me. I haven't I haven't really have made up any plans yet on what I'm doing while I'm down here. Whether or
Uh-huh.
not find a
It's
job,
prob
attempt
it,
attempt job.
it's probably a lot to take in right at this point.
Right. I mean,
uh, what happened there?
that's my alarm.
Oh,
Am I
um,
back?
no, you're back. It's just that the screen switched.
Yeah,
It used to be on the left. That's fine.
I forget that one.
Um,
So that's that's
Pretty
why
much it.
I'm in a such a rosy mood.
It makes perfect sense now.
Yeah. And then no, yeah, just excuse my attitude. I'm just not, sometimes you're just down,
Hey,
sometimes you're up.
I
But
totally
then
understand.
the,
I
the
totally
important
understand.
thing, yeah, the important thing is you got to keep doing this. Yeah, you got to
Right.
keep doing it.
And to be honest with you, I was busy as fuck too.
Yeah, tell me what
Um,
happened with you this week.
um, okay, so let's start with Thursday, because
Mhm.
because I think I told you about how I am now an insurance broker, right? And I'm trying to
Mhm.
work my way into getting certified as a presenter. What that means
A,
is
pl-
I can
a what?
um
A placenta?
no, presenter or a
Oh,
certified
placenta.
presenter. That's what they say. I mean that's what they call it. So I want to be a certified presenter, meaning I'm going to be, presenting the well, well, well uh, the deck for the product that we are selling. So I'm trying to work my way to get that certification. Um, so it's
Isn't that what
been
you've been doing for a couple of weeks now? Damn, how
not
long is that
really.
taking?
Nope. Nope.
How long that gonna take?
Um, no, you have to take trainings. You have to take trainings.
Hmm.
And yesterday I was at it for the whole day, and then right after that, a whole day meaning from 8 a.m. to no from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So that kind of drained my batteries pretty quick. And then that's on top of watching Lexi here and there too. I mean my daughter. Um, and then later on that day, yesterday, last night, I had to do a presentation as well to one of my friends. Um,
Kind of
and
presentation.
whatever the heck I'm practicing, right? Like you talk about the product, I'm going to be doing a presentation about the product, and for me to get a
Oh, you
certification,
you practiced on someone? Is that what it is?
well, I wouldn't call it a practice. This is an actual thing, and there's another guy who's watching me, who's assessing
Oh,
my
okay. I
performance,
see what you're saying.
right? So now, so I did that. I asked a friend for a favor, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, but I'll listen to it." And that's what we did. And yeah, so that's what we did. My night didn't end till like about 10 p.m. and then I had to get up again the next day early, and then which is today. I think I'm starting to sound like I'm. And then today I took another set of trainings.
Sounds so much fun.
So I was at it again for the whole day. And while I was doing that, because you know how it's COVID and you have to do it online, I was
Hmm.
doing food prepping for my daughters. Um, well, I do a food prep for my daughter's meals. I did that while listening to the training during the day, and in the afternoon, I had to listen to the training while I'm looking after her
Hmm.
because my fiance is going to. Well, my fiance is at work, and you know how if you're a night shift, she wanted to take some rest before going to work.
Well, so she's night shift now.
It fluctuates, I guess. On some days she's at nights, and on some days she's days.
Yeah.
So it depends on her, I don't know, rotation, I guess, whatever they want to call it. Um, so yeah, and now I'm here. I was able to put my daughter to bed pretty well earlier than usual.
So it's been busy for both of us on different
Right.
levels.
So I totally understand. Like I haven't, as soon as I got up this morning at 7, man, I was nonstop. Got up at 7, rode a little bit, and then I had to pick up some groceries. And after that, um,
Anything interesting that happened besides this
I don't
routine
know,
that you're boring us with?
nothing actually. other than it's been a super busy week. I've always been busy though. Like, you know what I mean? I think what I'm trying to that's what I'm trying to do anyways. During my paternity leave, I wanted to see how far I can go. Because I've been talking to a few people, and they're like, "Hey, I think you're doing too much of pretty much everything, and you're spreading yourself too thin." And they're right, and that's actually what I'm trying to do. I wanted to see how
Find out your
how
limits, baby.
right. You know David Goggins, right?
I know that. I'm
Yeah.
familiar with his
So
work.
that's the kind of thing that I want to do. I want to stretch myself in such a way that you know I'm close to that breaking point, and
That's the thing. That's the thing, though. A lot of people they think a certain point is their breaking point when it's really not. When
right,
the breaking point is like it's nowhere near it even. It's more they confuse the breaking point with I don't know the feeling of struggle. When this
right.
when things start to get kind of dicey and they feel kind of like I don't know. This is like I feel like I'm overwhelmed. This is too much. But yeah, you're right. You are overwhelmed. It might be too much, but that might not be your breaking point. And more,
Or maybe not, like or maybe I haven't even, or maybe it is, right? How do you
or maybe it is, or maybe it is.
it's
Yeah,
a tough question to answer, right?
you don't find out until it happens to you.
Right, because um and just so you know, I've been feeling like, you know what, fuck, I wanted to you know take a break. But when do you take a break, right? I've been getting that feeling, um
Hmm.
and I haven't had a chance to take some time for myself, especially today, because I slept pretty late last night, and then I got up late. I got up at 7. I usually get up at around 3:30 in the morning, but I got up at 7 because I was that tired. Um, and if I keep doing this, I don't know how that's gonna affect my overall health, right? Um,
I,
and that's
I
what I
think
meant
when it
by
comes
trying to stretch myself to to my limit. Maybe it's not my
yeah,
limit. I don't know.
when it comes to the health that you're saying, it's okay to do it like on short terms, like short
Hmm.
periods, like
Hmm.
bursts, but it's not advisable to do it on in like the long term.
As long as
You
it
can't,
doesn't turn into a habit, right?
yeah, you can't do it like I don't know, months, maybe
Yeah,
weeks at the
month's
most.
too
But
long.
if you get to a month, like you probably should take a break.
Yeah. Well, I'm going back to work in 3 weeks, so I'm thinking this is my third week. Um, yeah, sorry, in 2 weeks, and yeah, I told my fiance that I'm gonna, before a week before I get back to work, I wanted to uh, get back in a tip-top shape. You know what I mean? I want to
You've been doing
make
any
sure I
workout? You've been working out?
haven't no chance. I haven't done any reading at all. I've been
That's
focusing
probably
more
not
on
good. That's probably not good for you, especially if you're stressed. You need that. I mean, you need exercise in general, anyways. But
right.
that usually like offsets that by
Oh,
working out.
the tiredness.
Yeah, not just tiredness, but just the grind.
Okay, here's my problem though, and I do agree with what you're saying. I used to do some workouts, right? Um, until my fiance started going back to work, because then during the days, if she's on day shift, I have to prep her lunch, right? So that means I have to get up earlier because she leaves for work at 6.
Wait,
Uh,
okay. Just pause for that. What if you prep? What if you pack her lunch the night before and then use that time to work out in the morning?
well, that would be nice if I guess I can do that, but then if I if I do that, then that means I have to sleep later in the evening,
Hey man, give or
right?
take.
So exactly. So then what do, right? And then to and then oh, I'm losing my train of thought here. And then you know how and during my day, well, during the day, um, we were talking about, working out. Like I used to do that, but now I have to pick between, writing or working out, because I've been doing a lot of writing lately, and I wanted to make some money, writing on Medium, and yeah, I have to, you know, I can't do both. I have to pick one. So it's always been that struggle, which
I
one's more
mean,
important?
technically, you can do both. You can go on a treadmill and then just
Yeah,
just
exactly.
right.
Yeah,
Or use that time to work out to like kind of form your thoughts, and then
that's what I
when
used to
you're
do.
done, I mean, the point I'm trying to say is that if there's a will, there's a way.
I agree. I
There's a
I
will, there's a
totally
way.
agree. But then sometimes when you're overwhelmed, which is what I guess I kind of did to myself, it you end up multitasking, which is not advisable either, because if you multitask, you're half-assing, you know, um, whatever the heck you're doing. You're thinking about this while you're doing that. It's kind of like thinking about work while you're on vacation.
Yeah.
You know what
No,
I
no,
mean?
I get what you're saying.
So then I'm like, okay, I know it's unhealthy, but I'm doing it anyways because, well, what do you do, right? If you want to do both. Um, so I
You
totally agree with
need
what you're saying.
you might need to have like leisure time. If not a break time, you need to give yourself like, I don't know, an hour to like play video games. Just something that you enjoy.
Now that you brought that up, I'm gonna bring back that. I think I mentioned that our TV is broken, or my TV was broken for playing PlayStation. So I
You
took it to
broke
the
it from
shop.
playing video games?
No, it wasn't from playing video games. I think something happened to it. Like there's a sound coming off of the thing, but there's no picture.
Yeah,
No image.
anyways, what happened to it?
So I took it to the
You said
shop, and then shop gave me a call before fixing it, and they're like, "So how much it's gonna cost?" I asked them, and they're like, $300. I was like, you know what? How? I was thinking it would only cost me $20, or at least less than 100, but $300. I'm
shoot.
like,
You might as well get a new one. If that's the case.
exactly. So I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I'm not picking it up. Just send it straight to the dump site, or
Yeah.
to recycling. So that sucks. So now I haven't even had it. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play video games.
Well,
Not
do
really.
something. Do something that makes you not think about anything else. What is that? You gotta find that. You gotta find it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true.
Singing, watching a movie,
Well,
escape for a little
shower.
bit.
I get that from taking a shower, which only lasts for what,
No,
5 minutes.
shower is that shouldn't be your escape, man. Shower should it should be something else.
Oh, what do you do? Like, let me ask you this: what do you do when you get into that? Um, you know, if you just wanted to space out.
Here, I coined this term, productivity cheat day.
Okay.
So you can kind of gather what it is from what I said. It's a cheat day. It's a cheat meal.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of doing something, you just don't do it. You do the exact opposite. It's either you just be lazy and not do anything, just lie down, or do
Yeah.
something that you like. It's it's inevitable. It's a necessity. You have to do that in order, especially at the pace that you're going by. It's so
It's all too
beneficial
much.
for it's very beneficial on like two things. One, you do get that much needed break, and
Yeah.
two, that will kind of reset your system and give you like the fuel, it's recharge
Yeah.
yourself.
To recover from burnout, right?
And that on that, you'll be more productive because you've gained momentum, like you've kind of started over instead of just like dragging. You're going on fumes, and it's not
Yeah.
you probably won't create quality things from doing that.
No,
Yeah, exactly.
totally agree. And that's why recovery is important, right, for athletes, right?
Yeah.
I get it. Um, but then here comes the question of, finding your limit and recovery. So talking about David Goggins, like yeah, he doesn't really care about. I think he does recovery too. He
Yeah,
pays attention
you
to
can.
recovery.
It's you can't really compare yourself to someone. He's the monster, man. Like
I know,
he's a monster.
I know. That's why I like
He's like
listening to him sometimes.
one.
Like,
He's one in every like 100,000 people, or probably more. Or
I,
like someone like Cam. I don't know if you know Cameron Haynes, but he's another
I've
one.
heard of him. He's
Yeah,
another one.
he runs like a marathon every day on top of his regular job. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how
fuck
crazy.
those.
That's how crazy it is.
Yeah, I wanna callous my mind if you know what I'm talking about.
Right. So, because and that's exactly what I'm saying too. It sometimes you think like what you got is like, oh man, it's overwhelming, this and this, and then you look at some people like Goggins or people like Cam Haynes, and you're just like I'm a
They make you
bitch,
look like you're a joke.
you know? Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
like
The fuck am I bitching for?
yeah, I am lazy in comparison to those people,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they have the same 24 hours that I have, and what am I doing with mine? You know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, exactly. What else happened this week? Just a few actually. Um, Yesterday, I also found out that I'm not getting any parental benefit from my from my leave. That sucks.
So just
So I'm
told you to be
unemployed.
on.
So
Yeah,
I'm
so they told
unemployed
you.
for like 5 weeks. No income. Oh, fuck
I
me.
mean, buddy, we're in the same boat right now. But
And
at
that
least,
added to the stress too. That's probably, I guess I'm using that as
uh,
a drive, right? Like, so I told my fiance about this and just like, that's okay. I'll just have to pick up more shifts.
yeah. But that's the thing. You have your partner as a
Oh,
additional
but I
income.
don't, but at the same time, I still don't want to use that as an excuse
No, no,
not to do anything about it, right?
I get it, but it's better than my situation to where there's
Oh yeah,
no
I guess
income.
so.
Yeah, and I hate asking for help. That's not. I don't like that stuff. So we try to
I
be.
hold on. Same here. Like even with the insurance thing, asking my friends to help me out, like can you do a presentation with you guys? That took a lot of courage for me. I hate doing that. But then I had to. You got to do what you got to do. At some point, you have to ask for help, but don't ask
That
for too much help because otherwise you're gonna be an annoying bitch,
right.
right?
But you're right
So
though. So there are things that requires a two-person job. There are certain things that requires multiple people. But for the most part, if you can do, and when I say things, just in
yeah,
life in life in general. But if you can do things by yourself, it's better. But it's not bad to rely on your support system.
well, right. Because as much as possible, I totally agree with what you're saying. Like you want to
Yeah,
be as independent as much as possible.
yeah,
Because that kind of shows you who you like, what your capabilities are. That's the only way for you to find out, anyways, right? How far can you go?
right.
Um, and that's what I keep telling my fiance. Because even her, she agrees. Like you're sometimes I'm doing too much that when someone's talking to me, I'm kind of like floating in the air. I
Mhm.
don't
Yeah.
respond right away, or keep forgetting things that, oh,
Well,
should I gotta
okay.
do the laundry, or should I gotta do
Yeah.
this?
This is
I don't like, oh
this
boy.
is this is this is one thing that I learned from the previous episodes
Uh-huh.
because I had a lot of driving yesterday, so I listened to most of our like back
Oh,
episodes.
okay.
And one thing I've noticed is, and this is like my like self-criticism, one thing I've noticed is I need to listen to you more. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just kind of like zone out. Especially when you're talking about this repetitive, mundane crap that's going on in your week, which I asked you what happened to you this week, but then I kind of checked out in the middle. I
I
kind of like focus back.
Sometimes I
Don't.
notice your reaction and I'm like, okay, I think it's time to shut up and give him the floor.
And I'm trying not to do that. And I'm
and,
trying not to do that. Yeah.
and and I don't know if you noticed earlier when we started the podcast. I want you to keep talking. That's why I
I
keep
know you did.
shooting stuff back
Yeah,
at you.
yeah, but that was the wrong time to do that because I was, I was already kind of cranky to begin with
You know?
during the beginning, and then you're gonna like start.
Hey.
I wasn't. Hey, I wasn't in the mood to shoot the ball, but you kept passing it to me.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but back to the point, like listening, I think is very, listening is as much of a skill in communication as talking. It's like
Fucking right.
half of that thing. If you
Yep.
don't, if you're not, if you just like listen, if you just like talking to yourself and not listening, then you might as well just talk to yourself.
Yeah. And it's about empathy, right? Back then, I
There you
loved to talk too.
there you go again with like the words that misinappropriate. Okay, explain why is it empathy? What's empathy got to do with listening?
Oh, big, right? Because when you
Okay,
listen, you understand the person better, and
okay,
when you when you understand exactly what they're trying to say, right? Like you read their body language,
hmm
the words that they use, tonality, if they're excited or if they are feeling down, you readjust. And by trying to, like, through listening, like listening, you can kind of feel whatever the heck they're going through. And when that happens, you relate to them better. You,
yeah.
and that's what I meant by empathy, right? It's
Actually,
no one listens. A lot of people just love
mhm,
to talk.
yeah, yeah. That's very big actually in my line of job in the therapy world. There's actually an actual term for that. It's called active listening.
Yeah.
So you actively listen
Mm-hmm.
and respond or not respond as needed, and like exactly 100% what you just said. Sometimes a lot of it is more body language, especially if it's in person and
Mm-hmm.
you're like in person talking to someone. You have to kind of observe that body language, and it has to come in like second nature to you, because you can't, because if you're like, oh, what's happening with the body, I'm trying to listen to you and then like trying to study your body language, if it's not natural like that, it's kind of hard. So you kind of just pick up that
And you're gonna
skill.
look fucking weird. I'm probably just gonna be like, "What the heck are you doing?"
Yeah, you're just like, and you can't focus fully on the person if you're just like, you're kind of like distracted in a way, even if you're trying not to.
Yeah.
You know what I
It
mean?
it it takes practice. When it comes to listening, and sometimes even today, like when I tend to not to listen much to what people say, but as to how they're saying it. Um, that probably sounds too fucking deep, but sometimes when people say something, they don't always mean it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like, are you okay? I'm fine. You're
Right.
not fine. You just use that word, but you're not.
Or sometimes when you get into an argument with someone, right? Or if you're trying to prove a point, but you said this earlier that you said this and therefore you were wrong. I can't think of a good example right now, but sometimes whenever I get into like a discussion with a fiance, that's what happens. Or anyone at home, like even with my dad or with my sister. Well, you said this, and therefore I did that. But when I said that, you forgot about the context behind why I said what I said. Let me know if I'm talking gibberish again.
No,
I'm
I
talking about
understand.
context, right? There's always a context behind a comment too. And when it comes to listening, there's always a context behind it.
But sometimes
Um,
you can kind of get lost in like
mhm.
like keeping tabs with the score. You know what I'm saying? Like I get this a lot with like when you're in an argument in a relationship. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, you did this because you did this, therefore you did this because, and, and it becomes like a game.
It's
Like,
kind of like math, right? It's
yeah, it's kind of like, oh,
it's
you had more wrongs than I did, therefore you should say something. Like things like that. Like, how about how about just trying to find like the
Mm-hmm.
intention behind the guy. Yeah, so just try not to get lost in like the score tabs, keeping tabs on the score, and just sometimes communication is just communication, you know. But I feel like we should stop talking about that.
Hold on a second. Like
Yeah, yeah,
I
stop.
wanna pick it
Okay.
up. Yeah, I wanna keep going, but we can talk about the other stuff later. Um,
Hang on. By the way,
now you like I lost my train of thought.
oh my bad. But like, I dyed my hair. I don't know if you noticed it. Can you see it?
It's kind of hard to notice with the lighting. You look more like a Korean, a K-pop.
Yeah, it's I bought this like blonde, like platinum blonde shade, but it turned out like bronze. That's what the hair
Yeah,
turned out. Yeah, I
I
just
think you're missing an earring or something.
no, I just wanted to do it since I'm like on my sabbatical. But go on, keep going.
Yeah, when it comes to communication, I was just gonna tie that into listening, right? And I learned how
We are
to listen better. Well, when I'm talking to my fiance,
you kind of had to.
right? And then I would you whatever I'm learning from her, I would use it at work as well, and it's working pretty well.
That you made a good point on that. Whatever you, and it's not just communication, but with like everything in general. If you
Yeah.
learn something on one aspect, you can apply that to all things. You know, for example, it's like that. Um, one of I think do you know who Steve Nash is, right? Steve
Steve
Nash is
Nash.
a
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
he's retired. He's retired, former MVP, played for the Suns, whatever. He he plays soccer also. So I remember I read this one article saying that because he's a really good passer. So what
Hmm.
he credited a lot of his passing due to playing soccer. Like it developed his mind to kind of like think like angles and like thinking few like two steps ahead, whatever,
Hmm.
something. I can't
I
quote it
totally
directly.
understand what you're saying. It's
Right.
about
He
creativity,
incorporated,
right?
yeah, he incorporated something. Well, not creativity, but he incorporated something from one aspect and applied it to something else, and it just worked. So it just
And
one thing can.
that's how I define creativity, though. Like whatever you're learning from one area, and then you would apply that to a different area, and you see, I guess, different results and better results, if you know what I mean. Like it's
So that's what creativity means in Ramon's definition, Ramon's
well,
dictionary, because you have different meanings for every single thing. I tell
that's
you.
right.
So
Because
okay, cool.
like when it comes to writing, sometimes it goes from one it's kind of like with that's probably one of the reasons why I like analogies, right? Because now I'm like I can
A little
use
too much.
X as an example to explain Y. I can always create that relationship between the two,
Right.
and
Good. Yeah.
you know what I mean. And that's what I meant by like
Yeah, yeah, but
creativity.
sometimes what you're saying doesn't really it misses the mark when you're like
I don't know.
I define it as this when there's already a definition for it.
Well,
What you're
okay,
saying, what you're calling as creativity is more like innovation and adaptation. You adapt things from one aspect and you innovate it and you turn it into something else.
yeah,
Creation is just to make something. That's the creation in general. Like that's the
huh,
main definition. You
okay,
create something. You make
okay,
something new.
okay. What's okay?
Adaptation, innovation. Just you're kind of right, but you're not totally right. So that's it's the same thing with the ego thing. Like you're what you're doing is you're using the third definition of a word, and you're saying that like because like in a dictionary, there's
Ah, I see I can kind of see what you're saying, but
you
let
know
me ask you
a
this:
cup.
how do
Go,
you
go ahead.
like like how would you define creativity then? And that's what I'm gonna ask you because
Yeah.
when
Okay.
okay,
So So creativity, like I said, it's, you make new stuff, you make stuff out of something. That's creation, right? Creativity kind of takes that to a
Uh-huh.
different level. The art of creation, I guess. It's kind of like, here you go. I'm not a master of definition. I don't know. I can't define
You don't
clearly
need to be
stuff,
a master of
but
definition. What we're
yeah,
trying to do right now is we're
but
blending your
but
definition and my definition.
I know when something is not right. That I can't really like define what it is, but it's kind of like that saying, I can't explain pornography, but I know when I see it type thing. It's like that. It's like I can't. You're missing that mark. That's not what creativity.
I guess this is
It is,
driven
and it is
by.
not. And
I
this is
guess it's
like
driven
that.
by. Go ahead.
And this is like the classic overthinking. Like I can't believe we're spending like 10 minutes just talking about this. This is useless. Like we're arguing about like a meaning.
Uh,
All you gotta do is like go to Webster Dictionary, creativity. What is it? Okay,
because
there you go.
it
That's
doesn't.
creativity.
But that's not the point, though. Like what I'm trying to say is, you have your own like you define. y- I define creativity as this. You define creativity as that. I'm trying to find the middle point, right?
No, I'm not
And this
trying.
is like this is a big and this is a big source of misunderstanding sometimes, right? Because this is how I'm seeing it. I'm seeing a ball, and yet you're seeing a football. I'm seeing a basketball. You're seeing a football, but both of them are balls. Um, Never mind. Like we can skip that. It's it's it,
no, okay,
again. I
okay.
can always tie this back into
No,
communication.
let me tell you. Let me tell you the story. Okay, so you've always been this person, like to me, even back then, even during the BlackBerry Messenger days.
Uh-huh.
It takes you like it takes you roundabout ways to get to a point.
I agree.
Because you overthink so much when sometimes you really just don't like for example like that stuff like the creativity shit. Look at the fucking definition on the book if you're not sure. But you're like you spend too much time on like details that kind of doesn't really matter. And this isn't just from this conversation. Like I said, this
Hmm.
is like from
And
way back then. And
yeah,
it's I guess it's also personality, I guess,
maybe.
because you like to do the from A to B, you have to go to the C to the F to the G. But what if it doesn't work? Maybe you go to the L, the M. When I'm like, it's A and B, maybe A C B, but that's about it. And you're just like taking these here. And another thing, so there are subjects that needs your skill to kind of like flesh it out, to kind of analyze every single thing, important things in life. But sometimes you kind of get lost in those little things, and I feel that maybe that's why you don't have enough time in the day because you spend like a good
Oh, that's
amount
a
of it
good
just
point. Like that's pretty. That's
yeah.
fair.
Maybe
That's
you need,
fair.
yeah, maybe you need to unload some of that junk and just be simplify
No,
like a lot of things.
I'm not gonna unload that junk.
Unload some of that junk.
Because that
You're
junk I need that junk. That's what keeps me.
uh, keeps you.
Yeah. Um. No, that's like it's a good observation because it's not just you who noticed that. A lot of people notice that about me, right? I sometimes go to a different level, but I guess it's driven by. I'm not gonna try to justify it, but I guess it's driven by. I guess when I listen to other people, right? They have going back to creativity. A lot of people define it differently, or the people that I follow or listen to define it that way. And like like creativity is big. It's not just this definition, but it's big. It could be anything. Like anything can probably be considered as a creativity, right? because you're
Yeah,
using your.
but what's the point of knowing all these definitions when you innately know what that means? Why do you have to spend so much time analyzing just the definition of what makes this and this and this when all you got
Oh,
to
that's
do
a
is
good point.
accept the fact that that's what it means and just move on. Because
Oh no, hold on.
what do you gain from that?
Hold on, hold on. You know how this started? Whatever this back and forth that we're having right now. You're like, I don't like it when you use this definition when like I don't understand why. And then I started, you know, justifying as to why I'm using it. And you're like, no, you don't need to go blah 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 blah. You don't need to go that way. Like you just stick to that. But going back to what you're saying, I don't want to digress anymore. Um, yeah, okay, well, let's keep it simple because it's all started with that. When you say, I don't understand why you're doing this, and I started, you know, uh, defending my case,
Yeah, no, like
and
don't get me
that brought
wrong.
us here.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if that's how you are as a person, it's that's who you are. But it's not it's not very good podcast material, bro. We're trying to get things moving. It's good to spend stuff on other
Mhm.
things, but like not on like things like that, like creativity and
I guess so.
introducing yourself. I'm never gonna let this go. Introducing yourself and spending 30 minutes defining who you are and stuff. You see, that's why I love the first episode because it kind of
Well,
previewed who we are as a person.
well, I guess so. Yeah,
For better or for worse.
it's yeah. I guess it's always been a struggle with me. You know, like I'm consuming a lot of content. I read a lot of stuff, and
Watch your mic, by the way.
oh, I said rubbing against the okay. You know, I consume a lot of content, like, and you know, when it comes to introducing yourself, well, first thing that comes to mind is because you don't have a website and you have an about page, and I've struggled to freaking uh, figure out what to
Are,
write on that about page.
are we really going back to this?
No, we're not gonna go back.
Okay. Okay.
Well, you know what? Take the conversation somewhere else then, because fuck.
No, I know the perfect conversation.
That's your segue right there.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the motherland. You want to go
Yeah.
ahead and talk what's in the box or no? Let's just talk about something
Nah,
else first.
you started off. Yeah.
Okay. So for some reason, we used to do this in high school. We would cover we would cover our shirts
Oh, yeah.
whenever. Okay, I actually don't remember. I actually don't remember. You wanna go ahead and start that?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going
Sorry, I
on,
got
but
distracted. Um, no, earlier I was doing this, right, and I noticed my hair in my armpit, and I started covering it. Why? Because back in the day, for some reason we make fun of I guess everyone's going through puberty, and we make fun of people who regard, especially if you're a woman or a female and you have armpit hairs, right? It's
killy hair.
killy hair. It's oh, I guess for us it's gross.
Yeah, back in the day,
And
right? Like
right,
like 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 it's supposed to not happen. Like
right, and you know, when we see that, or when we see, I guess, people who would raise their, because back in the Philippines you'd have to raise your hand if you wanted to say something to your, if you wanted to say something, and you have to stand up, right? So
in
some
school, by the way.
at school, yeah. So people would like raise their hand and use their armpit hair,
We were so brutal when it comes to that.
and we make fun of them.
We would make fun of each other for having that. Like we're just do this.
I don't know. Like I always found that weird about you guys, how you guys make it. Like I didn't give a
No,
shit.
no, I agree. Now I agree. because I don't know what was going on back in the day. And we would always like trying to blast these girls that have like killy hair. You know what I mean? Whenever we see one, I don't know who's always looking. Why is everybody looking at people's
Well,
like?
it was Pat, right? Like
Was it Pat?
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
who it
Maybe
was.
James. I don't know. But
But the
like
fact,
you guys, we make you no, not me. You
no,
guys make fun of them, big, big
yes, we
time.
did. Yeah, like
I
there's
guess I
not
was part
supposed
of
to
it.
have that.
I was a bystander. I was part of the group, so I guess I'm part of it. But
It's such a stupid notion for like young boys to make fun of
well,
biology. I mean,
you know what that
you know,
reminded me of? We're gonna talk
what,
about hairs right now, but
wait, what?
someone's mom
Mm-hmm.
had a
Why?
mustache, right? uh, uh,
Do I know this person? You better not name drop here, boy.
I'm not bringing up names, but holy shit, that I
Yeah,
walked past her
well,
and she's an old lady and she never I guess she didn't bother shaving it.
you
And
know
I was just
when
like, huh.
the bad part about that whole like armpit killy hair is I still know who those girls are because we made fun of them so much. Like I
Hmm.
still know who those girls are, and I'm like,
How many
I
names
have
can you come
this
up with? I can only come
at,
up
le-
with one or two.
at least
One.
at least three.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
at least three.
We're not gonna name drop, but
No,
uh,
we're not gonna do that. But yeah, and even if we, it's just like it's so maarte, you know,
define
as like
maarte.
young boys. How, define maarte. You're the definition king. You define it.
I don't know how to define it. I think it's
It's
a comp. It like we use maarte for.
would you say
It's
sensitive,
not pick it.
like
It's not
picky,
really
right?
like
Kind of picky.
It depends on the context, right?
Well,
Like
on
when
that
you're,
context,
yeah, like if you're like even like if you're thinking too much about stuff, that's maarte too, right?
well, just
You're making a
on
big
that
deal out of the
context,
smallest things. It's
yeah.
that's
On that
maarte.
context, I'd say it's picky, and it's like it's picky and kind of not bratty, but like anyways, we were just like kind of bullying these girls. Well, you know, we
For
don't make fun
for
of them in front of them, but we would definitely make
like
fun of them behind their backs.
right, because it's and we're talking about like back. I'm talking about back
That's
in
sophomore, freshman,
yeah,
sophomore.
back in early 2000, right? Before, because today, like you can't. I don't think you can't really do that now, right? Like when it comes to making fun of people, there's a lot of restriction now. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't
What do
know.
you mean? You're talking about like bullying and stuff?
Yeah, that's just funny, because you do this. No, like that's just fucking weird. Like I didn't care, or
Yeah,
maybe I
I
did
mean,
care. Hold on, maybe I did care. I don't know, because you guys would make fun of those people, and I'm like,
you cared
I,
enough back in the day. I
huh?
mean, you didn't care as much as we did, but oh, you're talking about you cared for the girls that we were making fun of? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm talking about the armpit hair.
Oh, yeah, like you cared enough that you would laugh.
I guess so. I'd laugh because
I don't know. I mean, I
if you
can't
make
tell
it,
you how
if
you
everyone
feel.
makes it funny, then it's funny, right? It's one of those. Like if everyone's laughing, then maybe it is funny, right? But if no one's laughing, then okay, then maybe it's not. It really depends on what goes around the class or the community, because the community defines what's right or what's wrong, right? So if having armpit hair in the community is bad, then obviously,
You notice that people in the Philippines are more like sensitive when it comes to like stuff like that, rather than I guess here in the West. I'm like,
maybe it's just us.
no, it's not just us, because even I've met some fobs that are a lot more sensitive to like smell than like people here. They're always like,
You need to be
smells
more
bad.
specific.
Smells bad. It's like that. Like they're a lot more sensitive, like
Oh, okay.
with bad smells, rather or their tolerance is a little lower. Because people here, you can have BO and don't people don't care really, unless it's really bad. But
I
like
care
little things,
sometimes, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like these people, these people that I'm talking about, the fobs, a normal scent here for people like us or whatever, they would deem it
I
like
still consider
stinky.
myself a fob though.
Well, you know what I mean. When I say
Okay.
fob, like when I was talking to them, they were only been here for like a year,
Oh, okay, I see.
so they're
Like
they're
super
really
fresh, you're
fresh,
saying.
super fresh. I don't think you're a fob, by the way. I mean, if I don't consider myself as a fob, then I shouldn't consider you as a fob.
It.
Oh, okay. This
I
is a
have a friend
good.
that grew. I knew someone that
Okay,
grew up here, and you know how I define
okay,
fobs.
okay. Here you
And
go.
I
Here
agree
you
with that. I agree with that. His definition. It's more like, well, if you can speak Filipino, or if you're not born here,
Mm,
then you're one. You're a fob.
mm,
That's it's even
ah,
like I could be living here for the majority of my life, but I'm still a fob in his definition,
mm,
right? And I'm like, yeah, I guess I agree with that. And I'll be honest,
mm.
I don't give a shit, but people have
Yeah,
their own
but
definition, right?
this is this is where your overthinking ability comes in handy. Like, what? So is that how you define fob? Like, you define fob
I'll be
as
honest, I didn't care.
you
I
didn't, or
guess
you
I don't
still
care. I don't care
you
enough.
don't
I
care.
don't care enough
Yeah.
that because sometimes when I talk to people, they're wondering if I was born here. I'm like, nah, I'm not. Can't you tell from my accent that I'm not born here? And I'm talking about my Filipino Canadian accent.
Yeah.
And
Do you think that because some people will get offended by that. Some people who try really hard
to what?
To be Americanized,
Well, yeah,
and
yeah. I always find it confusing.
when you call them like, "Oh, you're a fob," they get offended. They take that seriously. They're like, "Oh, I'm not." And then the funny thing is, some of them was like, "No, I'm not a fob." It's like, you see,
Did you just call me? What did you just call me?
do you hear the irony of your statement?
What did you just call me?
Hmm.
Huh? Don't call me that. Don't
Some
call
people
me
like
that.
overcompensate when it comes to that stuff. But like going back to that, my
It's probably just the way you're asking too. Like you know, it, it, I guess it depends on how you're asking it, right?
yeah, or how you how
If you
the
ask them
con
straight up,
the
huh?
context of how you're using the term, because you can be like yo fob, in like a
Mm-hmm.
lovingly way. Sometimes you could
Mm-hmm.
use it as a condescending way, like fob.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on the
Mm-hmm.
context and what you're using that.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're a fob.
I don't know. I don't care. Thanks, but I don't care. It's one of those things. Like, does it really matter? I guess it doesn't. It
Well,
doesn't.
you do a lot of things that doesn't really matter. So
I don't. I don't think it matters.
yeah.
Um, well, not anymore. But back when, well, I just moved here. Of course, it matters because it seems like there's that it, like fobs have a different world, right?
Okay.
Than people who grew up here.
Yeah. Here's how I define it, just basing on like my thoughts just now. It's it's not even about the accent or whatever. It's more of if you define or if you live your life in the culture of where you're from. If you're, for example, like if you're more acclimated to Canadian culture or me with American culture rather than Filipino, then you're not a fob. You're already like you've ingrained yourself, you've ingrained your daily life into the place that you're at. Therefore, you're not. I don't think you are. That's how I define it.
Mm. Oh, what's the term that? Yeah. I
But
said
like I
I
said,
kind of
it
see what
doesn't
you're
matter.
saying. Like you yeah. Again, and the only people who would and to some people who's born here too, sometimes they don't care either. But some do. But some do, right?
Yeah, like people will be people. There are some that will care, some that won't.
Yeah.
That's just it is what it is.
But but then again, that there's that. But you would agree though that there's that world between fobs and people that are born here. I've always find that there's that they revolve into different worlds sometimes,
Hmm.
right?
I mean,
Because
regardless
if
of
you're a fob, it
you're still Filipino, even if you don't consider yourself a fob, or you're not, you still
right.
you should probably eat Filipino food. You probably go to Asian restaurants. You probably get Filipino stuff.
Well, yeah,
There's some sort of Filipino culture that you still that are still
because you're still
ingrained.
Filipino, right?
Exactly.
It's
Exactly. Even if you're
it
born
comes
here,
with it.
you're still, yeah. This comes with a
It it, it,
package.
it, it, it comes with it, and that's what
I,
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't matter. Like sometimes it doesn't matter. But going back to what you're saying, being a fob sucks sometimes. Really depends. Um, because then if you, I don't know where the heck, I don't know. Never mind. Forget what I lost my train of thought.
okay.
But there's that different worlds between the two.
Anything in the box we should pull out and talk about? You think
Um,
about you think of anything?
no. Back in the day, did you ever dye your hair too?
I'm not sure.
What do you
That's the
mean you're
that's
not sure?
that's the real honest answer. I have this weird memory, but I'm not sure if this memory is real or if it's of me that for some reason back in like the fourth grade or third grade,
Uh-huh.
you remember when like the Backstreet Boys and Nick Carter, all that stuff, like parting like in the
Yeah,
middle,
yeah, yeah.
all that. We also used to wanted to color dye our hair, or at least me and like other people, like Hemmark and stuff. And for some reason, I think I remember us talking about getting an acetone. Do you remember that?
I was just gonna say that's what it looks
Right?
like on your hair right now.
Yeah, it's like that's exactly why I remembered it. I'm like, did I do this before or did I not? I don't know. I think I didn't, but I think I remember people doing it. For sure, people
Acetone
were
on your
doing it.
hair.
Yeah, because we could afford like real hair dye, so
So
that's how
you'd
we were
kill it
doing it.
instead, right?
Hair kill it instead. Did you ever do it? Did you ever do anything like that? That crazy?
No, no. I always found it to be stupid, but people found it so back in the day. It's a cool thing to have, right?
Yeah, people just wanted to be like accepted and wanted to be in the norm or in the pop culture. And
I guess so.
nothing
You
wrong
still
with it.
do that. You still follow the trends, by the way.
Not as much. I just
Like if there's a new Facebook profile, not Facebook, one of those features on your Facebook profile.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, like the template, whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
I don't like, or
nah.
what sometimes if you're participating in something, well, you have like a black background.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Um,
that's an exception. That's more like social cause
yeah,
what you're
I guess
talking
so.
about. But like what you're saying about those things, no, not really. I don't. Sometimes, man, I'm just here. I'm like, I think to myself, man, I'm too old. I'm too old. Like, I don't care
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. But same thing with me. I don't care either.
Yeah. But
Um,
I think we're good. We'll cut this podcast short.
we're gonna have to because I can hear my daughter crying,
Oh, she's crying.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and maybe next time it'll be better because then you're probably more rested, right?
Oh, so it's my fault. Okay.
No, it's not your fault. It's I'm fucking
Okay.
tired too.
Mr.
And
Creativity, Mr. Creativity right here.
I gotta get my creativity back, right? You gotta. But
Hey
yeah,
man, we'll take our lumps. We'll have a good podcast. We'll have bad short podcast, long podcast. Like what you said, it's got to put the reps in.
hmm
But tell everybody where they can find you.
yeah. You guys can find me at type in reyesrjt.com and you'll find me there. You?
You can find me on Instagram, Ralphie Bones, RALPHIEBONES _ Also, we have a podcast. I mean, we have a podcast. Obviously, we do. We have an Instagram account, Balikbayan Box
Yeah,
Pod. Please, if you can, follow both the YouTube channel and the Instagram
the
account.
Instagram account.
Support anywhere you
We've been
can.
inactive lately because you can tell that both of us are so busy.
Yeah, it was not a lot of action, but
hmm
it is what it is. But yeah,
All right, guys. I gotta
thank you
go.
guys for
Gotta check my
listening.
daughter. Bye now.
Peace.